Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Alicia here, and we're gonna be talking about the markets this morning. So, I personally was actually wrong about the direction of the market, and I'll kind of go over what I was expecting to see, what we didn't see, and why this ultimately led us into not taking a trade, which is totally fine, like it's okay to not take trades. Even though that we're here on our desk, we're here ready to take a trade, that's totally fine if we don't. Especially if our plan doesn't follow through or if we see something that we just don't like. These are all things that me personally, I'm okay with. I'm okay with being wrong about the direction. What I'm not okay with is getting into a trade knowing that, hey, this isn't the ideal market conditions I wanted. And I know this from experience, so we're kind of just learning. And yeah, I just want to go over what I saw in the markets and kind of explain what I was looking for and what didn't happen. So with that being said, let's just get right into the markets. Let's start on the daily time frame. All right, so yesterday we had a really nice run off of that weekly fair value gap, and we took out Friday's low, so that was really awesome to see. Today I really wanted to see the market continue making that lower movement, taking out this sell side liquidity right here, resting below all these lows. I really wanted to see the market move lower today. I'm expecting it to move lower into these lows and then potentially go higher Thursday, Friday due to NFP. However, as we can see, we didn't actually get below those lows that I was looking for, and that's totally fine. I was just really wanted to see these lows taken out, and because of that, I have a bias for shorts. And I find when I stick with my bias, it usually works out better. So because of that, I didn't take a trade because I was, hey, I'm biased shorts. So let's just drop down to the 1 hour. Perfect. So this morning, so we have this large opening range gap from yesterday that could potentially be filled in, and we have a small opening range gap here that we did in fact fill in this morning. We had news today at 10 a.m., red folder news, the ISM news. So I was expecting the market to move higher than to move lower. What I really wanted to see was, we were trading down here. I really wanted to see these relative equal highs traded into potentially even this high before we moved lower. However, we just continued to move higher into this order block. And since I only trade 10 to 11, we actually missed this down move here because this happened after 11. But again, that's totally fine. I really did want to see these relative equal highs taken before going lower, but we just continued to move higher. And because of that, I was like, okay, I don't want to get in a trade. Now, I wanted to see this 1 hour fair value gap respect price because we did see we had some respect of that level at 3 p.m. yesterday, and then we continued to move lower, leaving this low intact. So I wanted to see these lows traded to. We did create these relative equal highs right here at 3 a.m. This was the 4 a.m. This was the high. So we had these relative equal highs. I was like, okay, we'll probably trade into this area, potentially fill in that opening range gap before moving lower into these New York AM session lows. That's what I wanted to see this morning take place, have a run higher at 10 a.m. and then continue to move lower. However, we just continued to go higher and traded into this 1 hour order block. So again, that's totally fine. I'm okay with that. Let's drop down to the 15-minute time frame now. Perfect. So here again, we filled in this opening range gap, and then we continued to move higher throughout the 11 to 10 a.m. session. And something I'm realizing too is, hey, you know what? We only trade 10 to 11, so we're more of a session-based trader. So maybe I could have gone in with that mindset of, hey, I wanted to see these relative equal highs taken. I wanted to see these highs taken. Let's go for buys in the morning just because we want to see these taken before we go lower, if we go lower. But again, I just wanted to see like a short retracement higher and then move lower. And because of this, we didn't see that happen. We didn't get into a trade. Again, we took out these highs, traded into this 1 hour fair value gap, but we actually traded higher into that 1 hour order block. And of course we had a bit of a move lower, and I'll kind of show you guys more on the 5-minute time frame. So perfect. So again, we were kind of moving higher, and then at 10 a.m. we had this nice candle higher due to the 10 a.m. news, taking out these relative equal highs, filling in that opening range gap, and then trading into that 1 hour fair value gap. Now, I saw the reaction off this 1 hour fair value gap, and I was like, okay, we're probably going to be going short now. I'm kind of looking to see if we can get a break of market structure or if we get more displacement movement down. So this is kind of where I differentiate like the 5-minute time frame to the 1 minute, like how I use the 5-minute time frame to determine whether we are going to continue going short. So especially when we're kind of like looking for that reversal move, I always want to watch the 5-minute time frame. And as we can see here, we have this 5-minute fair value gap, right? I'll draw it out. We have this 5-minute fair value gap that's kind of respecting price. So that's something to keep an eye out, especially because it's a higher time frame, more higher time frame than the 1 minute. And this new week opening gap, we actually traded down into it a couple times here before moving higher. So all of these things I was looking at, and I didn't want to see them be respected, but they were respected. So when I go down to the 1 minute time frame, I'll kind of go over why I didn't take a trade on the 1 minute time frame. So 1 minute, perfect. So again, as we can see here, we had the open, and then we kind of started to trade higher, and I was really liking this move because I was like, I really wanted to see these relative equal highs taken before we traded lower. And then at 10 a.m. when the news driver hit, we had this nice run higher, continued into that 1 hour fair value gap, and then we traded lower. And then I was like, okay, like we could potentially be seeing lower movements now. I was watching this 1 minute fair value gap to see if we would respect it. We did, but then we kind of had like this consolidating move. We came back down, we had that respect of that new week opening gap. So right there, I was like, okay, like, yeah, there's not too much displacement going on, so I just continued to watch the market. We did trade higher, not taking out this low. I was like, okay, like we could potentially see lower prices now. And then of course we kind of consolidating at this 1 minute fair value gap again, and then we had that kind of break down here. And I was like, perfect, like, you know, this is more of a break of market structure, something I would like to see. But the fact that we respected that 5 minute fair value gap so well, I was like, it just doesn't, like, if anything, I would have liked to see maybe a move below these lows, something more higher time frame, break of market structure before getting into short. We had that respect, so I was like, okay, this is something I don't want to trade right now. And then of course we moved higher. Again, not quite taking out that high, moved lower down into this 1 minute fair value gap, and then we just continued to make our way higher, and then eventually hitting that 1 hour order block. So yeah, my bias today was of course shorts, but we can see how the market has been moving higher, respecting that 5 minute fair value gap and the new week opening gap, and then continuing to move higher above this 1 hour fair value gap into the 1 hour order block. And then of course at 11:07, so not in my trading window, we can see we had that kind of nice move lower, and now we're just kind of moving around. I honestly don't know if we will be going lower or if we're going to continue higher. I am just kind of watching the market right now to see what we will be doing, but I know one thing is for sure. I am happy we did not get into a trade because I was more biased shorts. Even this was looking promising, but I really wanted to see like a higher time frame break of market structure, especially when we're working with reversals, because you never know if it's going to be if we're going to continue higher. Like we could totally go higher, aim for more sell side liquidity before dropping lower. So for me, I was just kind of watching this to see if we were respecting it. We did. We came back up, came right back down, respecting that fair value gap. But then again, this 5 minute fair value gap is more prominent, and higher time frame. So I was watching this to make sure that, hey, if we are gonna go lower, we want to see this break market structure right here, because that on the 5-minute time frame is a swing low essentially. So we wanted to see this break market structure before anything else, before we got into short for these lows down here. We have yet to break that structure, so again, I'm just kind of waiting to see what will happen. I do like how we hit that order block and now we're moving lower. But for me right now, I'm just glad we didn't get in a trade. And sure, that's what I mean when I'm trying to be more of a session trader. We could have gotten into a buy on this 5-minute fair value gap to move higher into that order block. But again, I was looking for shorts, so my bias, I guess, kind of got in the way of that this morning. But I find when I have a bias and I can understand why I would want to see the market play out to my bias, is when I take my best trades. When I'm kind of flip-flopping around in the morning, I kind of get stuck in trades that I didn't really want to be in, or enter into trades that I'm kind of iffy about, or completely just get confused a bit. So I like sticking to my bias, and if something plays out that complements my bias, I will take that trade. However, when it's something like this, when we're kind of in that buy, we had this displacement run higher, breaking these but continuing to go higher because we never broke out of this 5-minute fair value gap. To me, that just means, hey, you know what, let's just stay out of the market, let's wait for more information. So that is exactly what I did. And yes, we didn't get into a trade, but again, I am happy that we didn't get into a trade, because I probably would have gotten into a short and it just would have ultimately hit my stop loss. So understanding that too, I am totally okay with how we watched the markets this morning and how it played out. So yes, I hope you learned something today. I hope you kind of understand more of what I look for on the 5-minute time frame to take trades on the 1-minute time frame. I hope you understand, like, it's okay to be wrong, have a wrong bias. It's totally fine to sit here and watch the markets all day and not take a trade. And when I say all day, I'm really on the markets for a couple hours. So before I call it quits, at 11, I don't take any more trades and I just watch the markets. So I hope you learned something. I hope you found this video insightful. And yes, I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good day, guys. Bye for now.